Vishnupad Ashutarashatashmad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev Ki Jai Nityala Pravishram Vishnupad Ashutarashatashmad Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityala Pravishram Vishnupad Ashutarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sai Spisa Nityala Pravishram Vishnupad Ashutarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityala Pravishram Vishnupad Ashutarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Nityala Pravishra Mahabhagavat Srila Gorkishoras Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nityala Pravishra Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Nityala Pravishra Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai Naam Achay Shri Hairas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sarva Abhishta Vradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yoga Mai Ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Ki Jai Shri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namane Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Bhaja Shri Krishna Che Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyaya Keshavascha Krishna Bhakti Pada Devi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol Dandavat Pranams. So let me share my screen. Alright, so yesterday we read the preface and introduction, and the introduction went through the first 11 verses. So I thought maybe we should just look at the 11 verses here this is Bhakti, Srimad Bhakti Hridaya Bhan Goswami Maharaj's edition of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So this is the first verse. Akila Rasamrita Murti Prasrimara Ruchiru Datara Kapali Kalita Shama Lalito Radha Preyan Vidur Jayati. All glory to Lord Krishna Chandra, who is the beauty of the moon personified, and who is the embodiment of ambrosia of everlasting and Okay, sorry. And who is the embodiment of the ambrosia of joy, everlasting and immortal, called the Ras, and the radiance of whose body has subdued the two gopis, known as Taraka and Pali, or Palika, and who has owned Shama and Lalita, the other two spiritual damsels, as his own, and who is the most beloved of Radha. And it's explained in this purport. I'm not going to get into that. That will be for another time. We're just going through this quickly. So that's the first invocation verse. There's a long explanation in here. Where is verse 2? Wait, is it? Okay. So, I offer my obeisances unto the lotus-like beautiful feet of the Supreme Lord Hari, who is Sri Chaitanya Dev, inspired by whom in my heart I am induced to write this book, even though I myself am most unworthy to take the great task. May this ocean of the nectar of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, be the pleasure bed of rest of my Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, that is Sri Narayan, who possesses an all-animate eternal body, and may it give him constant pleasures. Or may this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu be the temple of rest for the supreme satisfaction of spiritual master, who is known as Sri Sanatana Goswami. So those two meanings can be understood from this verse. Come on. How come it's not moving to the next page? There. Let me make this. I respectfully bow to those superior devotees who have overcome the cobwebs of time, which is the cause of births and deaths, and who, like the makar, the mystical sea animal, freely swim in the ocean of the nectar of bhakti ras. After discarding all the rivers of mukti that ultimately merge and disappear into the ocean of bhakti. After discarding all the rivers of mukti that ultimately merge and disappear into the ocean of bhakti. O Sanatan, O Shri Krishna, or O Shri Sanatan, like Sanatana Goswami, may this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu glow or be manifest in all its brightness and luster in my heart for all time by extinguishing the flame-like tongue of the Mimamsakas. For the delight of the intimate friends of the delight of the intimate friends, this Bhakti Ras, dealing with Sri Krishna, who is the personification of all auspiciousness of the worlds, is being prepared or written, even by this incompetent person. Okay, now verses 7 through 9. 4 divisions of this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in relation to the Supreme Lord will now be described in the order of East, South, West, and North. And the different determinate aspects of Bhakti will be expounded in the 4 waves of the East division. In the first wave, the generic character of Bhakti. In the second wave, Bhakti attained by sadhan or spiritual practices according to scriptural injunctions, that is sadhan Bhakti. And in the third wave, Bhakti based on Bhav Bhakti. And in the fourth wave, Prema Bhakti will be established. Okay, so got that? It's so in the East division, it's divided into 4 parts. One is Samanya Bhakti, the general character of Bhakti. Then the second wave is Sadhan Bhakti, third wave is Bhav Bhakti, and the fourth wave is Prema Bhakti. In order to explain explicitly the obvious characteristics of Bhakti, that is Sadhan Bhakti, Bhav Bhakti, Prem Bhakti, and the second, third, and fourth waves of the East division respectively, the intrinsic nature, the definition of Uttama Bhakti, unalloyed Bhakti of the highest quality, as accepted by saints, is first stated in the first wave. So now we're going to get that definition, a famous definition of Uttama Bhakti. Anyavilashita shunyam jnana karma dhanavratam anukulena krishnanu shilanam bhaktiruttama. Actively serving Krishna and all that is related to Krishna with real liking and relish, and in a way that is agreeable or pleasing also to Krishna, and serving Krishna in the above manner without any desires of the usual extraneous motives, other than the desire for bhakti itself, and without any adulteration by the ways of karma, or the way of knowledge or gyan, or the way of yogic realization, is pure, unadulterated Uttama Bhakti, that is, bhakti of the highest quality. Interesting, I don't know what Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. Purva Mimamsa refers to karma and Uttara Mimamsa refers to gyan. It's something I want to learn more about. But anyhow, so this is what we read. We also went through the 12th verse, I think. Srila Prabhupada. In Nectar Devotion, we went through the 12th verse, I think, also. Yeah, this one also. So it is said in the Sri Narad Pancharatra, Sarva Pada Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchate. Completely freed from the defect of all upadis or adjuncts, that is, free from all desires, to be devoted to God, serving God with agreeable endeavors for the delight of God, and being pure, free from the clouds of Gyan, Karma Yoga, etc. To serve the Lord with all of the senses, to serve the Lord of the senses with all of one's senses is called bhakti. Hrishikena, Hrishikesha, Sevanam Bhaktir Uchate. So, now first, Srila Rupa Goswami, he gives the definition, the perfect definition of bhakti. And now he's giving, giving references to all different sources. So all these verses are basically just explaining what Srila Rupa Goswami wrote in this one verse, Anya Vilashita Shunyam. He's giving evidence from Narad Pancharatra, and now a bunch from Srimad Bhagavatam, from Kapila Dev's instructions to Devahuti. These are all very famous verses. Salokya Shashi Samipya Sarupai Kaptamai Apita Diyamanam Nagrinati Vinamats. So now we're going to hear this in Nectar of Devotion. Chapter 1, Characteristics of Pure Devotional Service. Srila Prabhupada. One second, let me just see if there's anybody there even. Oh, there's 3 people there? Okay, that's good enough. Dandava Pranams Gargaraji. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 29th chapter, verses 12 and 13, Srila Kapila Dev, while instructing his mother, has given the following characteristics of pure devotional service. My dear mother, those who are my pure devotees and who have no desire for material benefits or philosophical speculation have their minds so much engaged in my service that they are never interested in asking me for anything except to be engaged in that service. They do not even beg to live in my abode with me. There are 5 kinds of liberation, namely to become one with the Lord, to live with the Supreme Lord on the same planet, to have the same features as the Lord, to enjoy the same opulences of the Lord, and to live as a companion of the Lord. A devotee, what to speak of rejecting material sense gratification, does not even want any of the 5 kinds of liberation. He is satisfied simply by discharging loving service to the Lord. That is the characteristic of pure devotion. Diyamanam nagrinanti vina mat sevanam jana. Even if the Lord offers them, they don't accept these 5 kinds of liberation. In the above statement by Kapila Dev from Srimad Bhagavatam, the actual position of a pure devotee is described, and the primary characteristics of devotional service are also defined. Further characteristics of devotional service are described by Rupa Goswami with evidences from different scriptures. He states that there are 6 characteristics of pure devotional service, which are as follows. Pure devotional service brings immediate relief from all kinds of material distress. That's kleshagni. Then, pure devotional service is the beginning of all auspiciousness. That's shubhada. Pure devotional service automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure. Which one is that? That is Moksha Laghuta Krit, right? No. Oh God, what's wrong with my brain? What is it? Kleshagni Shubhada. My God, my brain went blank. Sandarananda Visheshatma. Yeah, that's Sandarananda Visheshatma. And then pure devotional service is rarely achieved, Sudurlabha. And those in pure devotional service deride even the conception of liberation. That is Moksha Laguta Krit. And pure devotional service is the only means to attract Krishna. Krishna Karshini. So those are the 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. Krishna is all attractive, but pure devotional service attracts even him. That means that pure devotional service is even transcendently stronger than Krishna himself, because it is Krishna's internal potency. So I guess now it's going to go through all of these. First, it will go through relief from material distress. And let's just see in Bhakti Hridaya Bhan Goswami Maharaj's. So he gives these verses from Kapila Dev, and then, one second. Here it is. This is the verse though. The 6 qualities of Uttama Bhakti. Kleshagni Shubhadha Moksha Laghuta Krit Sadurlabha Sandarananda Visheshatma Shri Krishna Karshini Chasa. Bhakti is the destroyer of all afflictions and ills of life, is beneficial, is the devaluer of moksha or liberation as a desirable end, and it is extremely difficult attainment. It's the essence of the cream of delight of a special kind, and is the attractor of Krishna, who is himself the attractor of all that is. So the first 2, one is Kleshagni, second is Shubhada, third is Moksha Laghuta Krit, fourth is Sudurlabha, fifth is Sandarananda Visheshatma, and sixth is Shri Krishna Karshini. That's why I got confused. That's interesting. Srila Prabhupada put it in a different order. He put Sandarananda Visheshatma after Shubhada. Right? Let's just see really quick. This is Kleshagni. No, sorry. This is Kleshagni. This is Shubhada. Then it should be this one. Moksha Laghuta Krit. 5 should be there. Anyhow, that's interesting. This is in a different order than how it is by Srila Rupa Goswami. Okay, anyhow. So first up is Kleshagni, relief from material distress. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that one should surrender unto Him, giving up all other engagements. The Lord also gives His word that He will protect surrendered souls from the reactions of sinful activities. Srila Rupa Goswami says that the distresses from sinful activities are due both to the sins themselves and to sins committed in our past lives. Generally, one commits sinful activities due to ignorance, but ignorance is no excuse for evading the reaction, sinful activities. Sinful activities are of 2 kinds, those that are mature and those that are not mature. I think this is referring to parabdha and aparabdha. Aprarabdha. The sinful activities for which we are suffering at the present moment is called mature. Yeah, that's parabdha. That means the ones that we're going through right now. Parabdha karma. The many sinful activities stored within us, for which we have not yet suffered, are considered immature. That's aprarabdha. For example, a man may have committed criminal acts, but not yet been arrested for them. Now, as soon as he is detected, arrest is awaiting him. Similarly, for some of our sinful activities, we are awaiting distresses in the future, and for others, which are mature, we are suffering at the present moment. In this way, there is a chain of sinful activities and their concomitant distresses, and the conditioned soul is suffering life after life due to these sins. He is suffering in the present life the results of sinful activities from his past life, and he is meanwhile creating further sufferings for his future life. Mature sinful activities are exhibited if one is suffering from some chronic disease, if one is suffering from some legal implication, if one is born in a low and degraded family, or if one is uneducated or very ugly. There are many results of past sinful activities for which we are suffering at the present moment, and we may be suffering in the future due to our present sinful activities. But all of these reactions to sinful deeds can be immediately stopped if we take to Krishna consciousness. As evidence for this, Srila Rupa Goswami quotes from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, 14th Chapter, verse 19. This verse is in connection with Lord Krishna's instruction to Uddhav, where he says, "My dear Uddhav, devotional service unto me is just like a blazing fire, which can burn into ashes unlimited fuel supplied to it." Let's just see Srimad Bhagavatam. I just want to see what the verse is. What is that? 11th camp, 11, 14, 19. 11, 14, 19. 11, 14, 19. Here it is. Yatagni susamridarchi karot te dangsi bhasmasat tata marvishaya bhaktir udhavai nangsi kritsnasha. Just as fire properly lighted consumes the wood used as fuel and reduces it into ashes, so even the rudiments of bhakti in the form of occasional chanting or hearing of my name destroys all sins. That means all accumulated sins that have not yet started bearing fruits. O Uddhav, this is what Krishna tells Sri Uddhav. Okay. This is what Lord Krishna tells Sri Uddhav in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. So that's aparabdha karma. Now it's going to describe prarabdha karma, the reactions that we're undergoing right now. Yanamadeya Shravanam Anukirtanat. Oh, this is a famous verse. Oh man, I should be learning all these verses. Okay. So this verse is in connection with Lord Krishna's instructions to Uddhav, where he says, "My dear Uddhav, devotional service unto me is just like a blazing fire, which can burn into ashes unlimited fuel supplied to it." The purport is that as the blazing fire can burn any amount of fuel to ashes, so devotional service to the Lord and Krishna consciousness can burn up all the fuel of sinful activities. And this is referring specifically to aparabdha karma, right, as we just read. For example, in the Gita, Arjuna thought that fighting was a sinful activity, but Krishna engaged him on the battlefield under his order, and so the fighting became devotional service. Therefore, Arjuna was not subjected to any sinful reaction. Now, Srila Rupa Goswami quotes another verse from the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 33rd chapter, verse 6, in which Devahuti addresses her son Kapiladev and says, and this is referring to prarabdha karma, the karma that we're experiencing right now. The mature, as Srila Prabhupada explained before, is mature karma. And here's the verse. So, prarabdha haratam yatha tritiye. Yanamadeya shavanam anukirtanad yat pravanad yat smaranad api kvachit Shvadopi sadhya savanaya kalpate kuta punaste bhagavan darshanat. So let's see. My dear Lord, there are 9 different kinds of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting. Anyone who hears about your pastimes, who chants about your glories, who offers you obeisances, who thinks of you, and in this way executes any of the 9 kinds of devotional service, even if he is born in a family of dog-eaters, the lowest grade of mankind, that person becomes immediately qualified to perform sacrifices. As such, how is it possible that anyone actually engaged in devotional service and full Krishna consciousness has not become purified? It is not possible. One who is engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional service has without doubt become freed from all contaminations of material sinful activities. Devotional service, therefore, has the power to actually nullify all kinds of reactions to sinful deeds. A devotee is nevertheless always alert not to commit any sinful activities. This is his specific qualification as a devotee. Thus, Srimad Bhagavatam states that by performing devotional service, a person who is born even in a family of dog-eaters may become eligible to take part in the performance of the ritualistic ceremonies recommended in the Vedas. It is implicit in this statement that a person born into a family of dog-eaters is generally not fit for performing yajna or sacrifice. The priestly class in charge of performing these ritualistic ceremonies recommended in the Vedas is called the Brahman order. Unless one is a Brahman, he cannot perform these ceremonies. Just want to see. Okay, sorry. A person is born in a Brahmin family or in a family of dog-eaters due to his past activities. If a person is born in a family of dog-eaters, it means that his past activities were all sinful. But if even such a person takes to the path of devotional service and begins to chant the holy names of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, he is at once fit to perform the ritualistic ceremonies. This means that his sinful reactions have immediately become neutralized. It is stated in the Padma Puran that there are 4 kinds of effects due to sinful activities, which are listed as follows. 1. The effect that is not yet fructified, that's aprarabdha. 2. The effect that is lying as a seed. Sorry, I'm wrong. The effect that is not yet fructified. Kut, I think. Yeah, that's kut. So this first one is kut. Then the effect that is lying as a seed, that's bij. And the effect that is already mature, that's prarabdha. And the effect that is almost mature, that's aprarabdha. It is also stated that all these 4 effects become immediately vanquished for those who surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, and become engaged in his devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. Right? Let me just make sure I've got that all right. Yes, see? Aprarabdha phalam, papam kutam, bijam phalon mukam, kramenaiva praliyeta Vishnu bhaktir atmanam. So sin which is not yet bearing fruit, or the totality of such sins, that's kutam. And the seed, bijam. Oh God. I'm confused. Okay, I got it. Yes. Anyhow, I think I got it right. Prarabdham, which is tending towards bearing fruits. Kutam. Oh God. Anyways. Yeah, I think I got it right. So, those effects described as almost mature refer to distress from which one is suffering at present. That's prarabdha. And the effects lying as a seed, bij, are in the core of the heart, where there is a certain stock of sinful desires which are like seeds. The Sanskrit word kutam means that they are almost ready to produce the seed, or the effect of the seed. An immature effect refers to the case where the seedling has not begun. From this statement of Padma Puran, it is understood that material contamination is very subtle. Its beginning, its fruition, and results, and how one suffers such results in the form of distress, are part of a great chain. When one catches some disease, it is often very difficult to ascertain the cause of the disease, where it originated, and how it is maturing. The suffering of a disease, however, does not appear all of a sudden. It actually takes time. And as in the medical field, For precaution's sake, the doctor injects a vaccination to prevent the growing of contamination. The practical injection to stop all the fructifications of the seeds of our sinful activities is simply engagement in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so that's our vaccine, is Krishna consciousness for POP, for the disease of all of our sins. In this connection, Shukadev Goswami speaks in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd chapter, verse 17, about the story of Ajamil, who began life as a fine and dutiful Brahmin, but who in his young manhood became wholly corrupted by a prostitute. At the end of his wicked life, just by calling the name Narayan, Krishna, he was saved despite so much sin. Shukadev points out that austerity, charity, and the performance of ritualistic ceremonies for counteracting sinful activities are recommended processes, but that by performing them, one cannot remove the sinful desire seed from the heart, as was the case with Ajamil in his youth. This sinful desire seed can be removed only by achieving Krishna consciousness, and this can be accomplished very easily by chanting the Mahamantra, or the Hare Krishna mantra, as recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In other words, unless one adopts the path of devotional service, he cannot be 100% clean from all the reactions of sinful activities. By performing Vedic ritualistic activities, by giving money in charity, and by undergoing austerity, one can temporarily become free from the reactions of sinful activities. But at the next moment, he must again become engaged in sinful activities. For example, a person suffering from venereal disease on account of excessive indulgence in sex life has to undergo some severe pain in medical treatment, and he is then cured for the time being. But because he has not been able to remove the sex desire from his heart, he must again indulge in the same thing and become a victim of the same disease. So medical treatment may give temporary relief from the distress of such venereal disease. Is it venereal or venereal? I think it's venereal, right? I don't even know that word. Yeah, it's venereal, sorry. So it may give relief from the distress of such venereal disease, but unless one is trained to understand that sex life is abominable, it is impossible to be saved from such repeated distress. Similarly, the ritualistic performances, charity, and austerity that are recommended in the Vedas may temporarily stop one from acting in sinful ways, but as long as the heart is not clear, one will have to repeat sinful activities again and again. Another example given in Srimad Bhagavatam concerns the elephant who enters into a lake and takes a bath very seriously, cleansing his body thoroughly. Then, as soon as he comes onto the shore, he again takes some dust from the earth and throws it all over his body. Similarly, a person who is not trained in Krishna consciousness cannot become completely free from the desire for sinful activities. Neither the yoga process, nor philosophical speculations, nor fruitive activities can save one from the seeds of sinful desires. Only by being engaged in devotional service can this be done. There is another evidence in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 22nd chapter, verse 39, wherein Sanat Kumar says, "My dear king, the false ego of a human being is so strong that it keeps him in material existence as if tied up by a strong rope. Only the devotees can cut off the knot of this strong rope very easily by engaging themselves in Krishna consciousness. Others who are not in Krishna consciousness, but who are trying to become great mystics or great ritual performers, cannot advance like the devotees. Therefore, it is the duty of everyone to engage himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness in order to be free from the tight knot of false ego and engagement in material activities." The tight knot of false ego is due to ignorance. As long as one is ignorant about his identity, he is sure to act wrongly and thereby become entangled in material contamination. This ignorance of factual knowledge can also be dissipated by Krishna consciousness, as confirmed in the Padma Purana as follows. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the highest enlightenment, and when such enlightenment is there, it is just like a blazing forest fire killing all the inauspicious snakes of desire. The example is being given in this connection that when there is a forest fire, the extensive blazing automatically kills all the snakes in the forest. There are many, many snakes on the ground of the forest, and when a fire takes place, it burns the dried foliage, and the snakes are immediately attacked. Animals who have 4 legs can flee from the fire, or can at least try to flee, but the snakes are immediately killed. Similarly, the blazing fire of Krishna consciousness is so strong that the snakes of ignorance are immediately killed. Let's see how long this section is, the Shubhada section. You know what? Actually, I think I'm going to end here for today, and we'll read Shubhada tomorrow. I'm just going to do a little bit every day. Yeah, because this section's a little bit long. Should I just do Shubhada? Okay, let's do Shubhada also, and then I'll stop for today. So we're doing the first 2, and the first 2 is related to Sadhan Bhakti. And the next 2 is, where are we? There. Krishna consciousness is all auspicious. Srila Rupa Goswami has given a definition of auspiciousness. He says that actual auspiciousness means welfare activities for all the people of the world. At the present moment, groups of people are engaged in welfare activities in terms of society, community, or nation. There is even an attempt in the form of the United Nations for World Help activity. But due to the shortcomings of limited national activities, such a general mass welfare program for the whole world is not practically possible. The Krishna consciousness movement, however, is so nice that it can render the highest benefits to the entire human race. Everyone can be attracted by this movement, and everyone can feel the result. Therefore, Rupa Goswami and other learned scholars agree that a broad propaganda program for the Krishna consciousness movement of devotional service all over the world is the highest humanitarian welfare activity. How the Krishna consciousness movement can attract the attention of the whole world, and how each and every man can feel pleasure in this Krishna consciousness is stated in the Padma Puran as follows. A person who is engaged in devotional service and full Krishna consciousness is to be understood to be doing the best service to the whole world, and to be pleasing everyone in the world. In addition to human society, he is pleasing even the trees and animals, because they also become attracted by such a movement. A practical example of this was shown by Lord Chaitanya when he was traveling through the forest of Jharkhand in central India for spreading his Sankirtan movement. The tigers, the elephants, the deer, and all other wild animals joined him and were participating in their own ways by dancing and chanting Hare Krishna. Furthermore, a person engaged in Krishna consciousness, acting in devotional service, can develop all the good qualities that are generally found in the demigods. It is said by Shukadev Goswami in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 18th chapter, verse 12. Oh, I know the shloka. What is it? Oh, God. Can't remember the first word. Is it Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavata Kinchana? Oh, God. Anyways, let's see. Srimad Bhagavatam, 18th chapter, verse 12. My dear king, persons who have unflinching faith in Krishna and are without any duplicity can develop all the good qualities of the demigods. On account of a devotee's high grade of Krishna consciousness, even the demigods like to live within him, and therefore it can be understood that the qualities of the demigods have developed within his body. On the other hand, oh God, I need to find this, man. Okay, this is a very famous verse. Yep, I was right. Haha. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavata kinchana sarvar gunas tatra samasate sura harav bhaktasya kuto muhar guna mano ratena satidhavato bahi. Okay, sorry, I just needed to. On the other hand, a person who is not in Krishna consciousness has no good qualities. He may be highly educated from the academic point of view, but in the actual fields of his activities, he can be seen to be as baser than the animals. Even though a person is highly educated academically, if he cannot go beyond the sphere of mental activities, then he is sure to perform only material activities and thus remain impure. There are so many persons in the modern world who have been highly educated in the materialistic universities, but it is seen that they cannot take up the movement of Krishna consciousness and develop the high qualities of the demigods. For example, a Krishna-conscious boy, even if he is not very well educated by the university standard, can immediately give up all illicit sex life, gambling, meat eating, and intoxication, whereas those who are not in Krishna consciousness, although very highly educated, are often drunkards, meat eaters, sex mongers, and gamblers. These are practical proofs of how a Krishna-conscious person becomes highly developed in good qualities, whereas a person who is not in Krishna consciousness cannot do so. We experience that even a young boy in Krishna consciousness is unattached to cinemas, nightclubs, naked dance shows, restaurants, liquor shops, etc. He becomes completely freed. He saves his valuable time from being extravagantly spent in the way of smoking, drinking, attending the theater, and dancing. One who is not in Krishna consciousness usually cannot sit silently, even for half an hour. The yoga system teaches that if you become silent, you will realize that you are God. This system may be all right for materialistic persons, but how long will they be able to keep themselves silent? Artificially, they may sit down for so-called meditation, but immediately after their yogic performance, they will engage themselves again in such activities as illicit sex life, gambling, meat eating, and many other nonsensical things. But a Krishna-conscious person gradually elevates himself without endeavoring for this so-called silent meditation. Simply because he is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he automatically gives up all this nonsense and develops a high character. One develops the highest character by becoming a pure devotee of Krishna. The conclusion is that no one can truly have any good qualities if he is lacking Krishna consciousness. It's interesting Srila Prabhupada is explaining it in this order, though. Because happiness in Krishna consciousness, this is Sandarananda Visheshatma. That is usually number 5. But here it's being shown as number 3. Because this is in Prem Bhakti, you get this one. I mean, you achieve this one. This is a symptom of Prem Bhakti. Anyhow, we will continue this tomorrow. See, let's see in here how it goes. Maybe it's see, number 3 is Moksha Lagutakrit. Anyhow. And then it's Sadurlabha, and then it's Sandarananda Visheshatma. Right? Anyhow. Anyways, see, then it's Sandarananda Visheshatma. So Srila Prabhupada's going here, I think. That's just really interesting. All right. All right, so I'm going to end for now, and we'll finish the rest tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Shri Shri Guru. No, I just got this from Rupmanjari. I just got this from Vedabase.io. Oh, you're talking about the Hari Bhakti Vilas? No, that's the PDF that you sent me from Bhakti Hriday Van. I need to make a PDF. Sorry, the Kindle book. I still haven't done that yet. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishto Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishto Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishto Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishto Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Nityalapa Vishtam Vishnupara Shatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nityalapa Vishtam Mahabhagavat Srila Bhaksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nityalapa Vishtam Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nityalapa Vishtam Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasagaнаth Sharda Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanantari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. नाम आचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय. सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय. श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय. श्री मुन देवी गंगा देवी की जय. श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय. श्री भक्ति देवी की जय. श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जय. श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. भक्ति रसमृत सिंधु की जय. श्री रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय. श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवश्च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रद देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः. वंश कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. दंडवत प्रणाम. Sorry, my reading. Okay, I'm just letting you guys know that this reading is going to be very choppy because I haven't gotten any time to read Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but I always like to know what Sanskrit verses are being used and what the Sanskrit definitions for everything is, and so I'm probably going to be going back and forth a lot. I'll see if I can get another edition of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also. There's one by, what's his name? The Japanese devotee, is he Japanese? Bhanu Swami, right? I'll see if I can find that one also, and that might be helpful. And yeah, all right, Haribol, Dandavat Pranam. It should be choppy. Okay, cool. Thanks for that. Haribol. Actually, I mean, I really would like to go through it even slower and like be more thorough, more careful. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see as I go along. This is just, I'm doing this